Hi, how you doing? Welcome or welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah, and it has been, yet again, another 2 weeks. I was on vacation last week, as I alluded to the week before, and I had every intention of filming the weekend we got back, but let me tell you what, something about a road trip up, like, the East Coast really just kills your energy for, frankly, a while. So I just did not have it in me to film anything last weekend. I also did not read hardly anything on the trip, which is disappointing. Honestly, I'm still a little disappointed about that because I'm so used to always reading on vacation. I almost always read at least like 3 to 4 books. I read almost nothing. It was a fantastic vacation though. I had a fantastic time. We did a lot of really cool stuff, made a lot of really cool memories, but at the end of the day, each night when we got back to the hotel room, I just laid down. I will actually talk about that first because I got some books. When I go on vacation, I don't really buy souvenirs as much as I just buy books. I have started in recent years getting Christmas ornaments for our Christmas tree, but otherwise I buy something for my daughter, my husband picks out a t-shirt, and I usually get books. So we started off the trip. I live in East Tennessee, as I have mentioned previously. We started off by going up into West Virginia, which was absolutely beautiful. I loved the views in West Virginia. The ride was smooth, it was really pretty, and we went to Point Pleasant, which is where the Mothman legend comes from. If you're not familiar, I recommend you look it up, but basically, Mothman is a cryptid, like think Bigfoot or the Yeti or the Loch Ness Monster. He is specific to West Virginia, where he was spotted on a dark road one dark night, and then shortly thereafter was seen again on a bridge right before a great bridge collapse. And he's seen as either a forerunner of doom or a warning, like, hey, be careful here, that sort of thing. And there's all kinds of conspiracy theories and things about the Mothman. People say he's an alien, people say this, that, or the other. And Point Pleasant has a whole, little culture around it. They've got a statue in on the main strip there. There's the Mothman Museum. We did mini golf. It was just very cool. There's a running joke statue of Mothman. He's very thick. He doesn't skip squat day. He's out there in the gym. And you can tell. I got a funny shirt that says, what is it? The only thing keeping me going is Mothman's fat ass. I lost my shit when I saw that shirt. I had to buy it. But the book I got in Point Pleasant was The Mothman Prophecies by John A. Keel. This is a guy who came up with a whole bunch of crazy conspiracy theories about the Mothman, what he could mean, who he could be. He's got all these wild out there theories. Who knows what's true or false, but I just thought it would be fun to read. And this cover art is by Frank Frazetta, the frankly legendary comic book artist. And I specifically, there were some nice editions from Tor, but I had to have this cover because that's awesome. So we stayed there a day, and then after that we took it was I think 8.5 to 9 hour drive up into New York to Niagara Falls. And I didn't get a book there. There was a Barnes and Noble there, but because of our timing it was closed. But it was absolutely incredible. We went on the Maid in the Mist and then through the Cave of the Winds. So we went up to the waterfalls with the Maid in the Mist, and then we stood on the hurricane deck at Cave of the Winds where you stand at the base of the waterfall. That was amazing. That was one of the things on my husband's bucket list, and I was really happy we got to do it. And I've never been to any of these places, so this was all new to me, and it was just absolutely fantastic. The drive up was super easy. I saw Lake Erie. I've never seen one of the Great Lakes. It was frankly eerie. It was kind of creepy. It was just so flat and big. The biggest body of water I've ever seen is the ocean, but that moves. The lake was not really moving that I could tell. It was kind of creepy. But yes, Niagara Falls was fantastic. Then we drove over to Salem, and we went through Boston, around Boston and down to Salem. And I tell you what, y'all's roads up there are a little wackadoodle. The traffic was wild. The roads, just the way you have to where I'm from, here in the South, we have cut-throughs. We could cross lanes of traffic. That was not an option in some places down in Boston and Salem. It was wild. Anyway, Salem was great. I didn't take a lot of footage of Salem because I was overwhelmed. Salem, while I enjoyed it, was to me what Myrtle Beach is to a beach where Salem is to witches. Like, it's kitschy, there's all kinds of little stores, it's commercialized, there's all kinds of people there, you know, with these cheap little stores, like I said, and it's just, it was fun. We went to a couple of really good museums and events, which I'll talk about, but it was not what I expected. The first night we were there, I found a free little library and grabbed The Ghost Theater by Matt Osman. I don't know anything about this. I know it's like a historical sort of, maybe with notes of speculative fiction in it, about prophecy and fires. I'm excited to try it. It's an ARC from 2014. Yeah, Uncorrected Proof. This book is already out. Like I said, I grabbed it out of a free little library. And then the next day we went to the... Yes, you're cool. Did you hear that? There's a car. The next day we went to the Witchcraft Museum, which was very cool. It was a little shorter than expected, but very cool. At one point we were in the big performance and my daughter, who is 5, looked over at my husband and whispered, "Is this appropriate for children?" Which was hilarious. You know, they're telling a story about all the witchcraft trials and the fires burning and guy getting crushed, and, the devil and all this stuff. It was very funny. She's very spunky. But I got A Storm of Witches by Emerson W. Baker. I found this, it was highly recommended online, so I grabbed it while we were there. This is by I believe this was one of the ones written by a descendant from the Salem Witch Trials, and it is a nonfiction account. And I also got the Penguin Book of Witches because it has a lot of first-hand sources from the time and different times in history. I really enjoy these books, like the Penguin books of a few years back. And I don't know if that review is still up on the channel or if I took it down. I read the Penguin Book of the Undead, and I absolutely loved that. So I saw this and got very excited because I remember when this came out and I didn't buy it, and I had always wished I had. So I got that. And then the last thing we did that day, which was unplanned, but I'm very happy we did it, was we went to the House of the Seven Gables, which is the book that which is the house that Nathaniel Hawthorne was inspired by to write his book, The House of the Seven Gables. We did the historical tour, which was a lot of fun. My daughter loved it. If you can hear her, she's upstairs, goofing off. We went through the house. She got to open the secret passageway in one of the rooms.
We're gonna find out there. Tell me when you're pressing on it. You gotta press it and hold. Let's see.
Did you find it?
Oh, I think you got it. All right. Keep it, hold. There we go.
And it's just fantastic. If you're ever in Salem and you're looking for things to do, I mean, there's plenty to do, but I would recommend going to the House of the Seven Gables. It was beautiful. If you're from my area or the North Carolina, it reminded me very much of the Biltmore estate, but on a much smaller scale. And the last place we went on the way home was Sleepy Hollow. We hit Sleepy Hollow for a few hours on the way from Salem down to Scranton, where our last hotel room was before we went home. My husband absolutely loves the Headless Horseman legend. It's one of his favorite Halloween stories. And so I picked up a copy of Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow at a little independent bookstore down there. Absolutely loved that bookstore. I will say I went to an indie bookstore in Salem. I did not like that one. Sometimes you will go into an indie bookstore, and I've noticed this, it's more so now that I'm older and have a child, but you get followed by employees. I don't think I look shady. I'm usually just wearing a t-shirt and jeans, and I have, like I said, a 5-year-old. The little bookstore in Salem, we were followed around the store by an employee who was very obvious in the fact that they were following us and just standing around awkwardly, messing with things, but watching me look at books. I didn't like it. But the bookstore in Sleepy Hollow was amazing, incredible, 10 out of 10. Do recommend. I think it's just called the Sleepy Hollow Bookstore. I got a shirt there that says I lost my head in a good book at the Sleepy Hollow Bookstore, which was very cute. My husband and I will share t-shirts, so that's for both of us. And I got the collection of Washington Irving stories, including the Sleepy Hollow one. So I'm excited to read this. I think I might have actually read this in the past, but I don't have this edition, and I'm very much up for a reread. So that's going on my classics shelf. And for those of you who are newish, I do read classics, a lot of them. In fact, I just haven't read them in the past couple years, but I have an entire shelf in the other room over here that's just classics. I really love classics. I'm very moody in my reading, and I have not been in the mood for a classic lately. But the trip kind of reinvigorated that idea, so yeah. But it was a great trip. I've never been on a road trip like that. We were very lucky. We have a friend who works in the hotel business. We were able to get our hotels relatively inexpensively. So it worked out really well for us as far as like budgeting. I would recommend for those who are thinking about going any of the places we went to, the off season, which is when we went in October, is a great time, especially Niagara Falls. That is the last thing I will mention. If you ever want to go to Niagara Falls, October is the time to go. There was absolutely no one there. There were small crowds of people, but like the streets were empty. The people there who were very nice and they were very polite, and we could just walk across the street. Even like you're doing the walk and stop thing at the stoplight, but even then there's like no cars. There were people jaywalking all around us. Like it was that empty. It's great. It's fantastic. But as to what I actually read, which was pretty much nothing, I read at the end of each day because we were walking around all these places on foot. We would walk all day, we'd get back to the hotel, and frankly, I would crash. I read chunks of To Green Angel Tower, so I am not done with this. I am almost done with part 1, which would put me at, I think I'm at like 40%. And I'm like making good progress now that we're home. So I have no problem. I'm not concerned about having this done by next weekend. I have this second part 2 upstairs. But I read Thinky Thoughts by Gwenna Lathland. She is Lathland. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. She is who's known as Mama Cusses on Instagram and TikTok and that sort of thing. And this is her second book. It comes out in April of next year. She is hilarious. Now, I found her work online when COVID hit and I was a new mom. I had my daughter January, the end of January 2020, right at the end. And so COVID hit, with a vengeance. The lockdown started shortly after that. So she is a COVID baby, effectively. And I found Mama Cusses on Instagram during that time, and she is a millennial. She's a little bit older than me. She's like more on the elder millennial side, I think, but we share the same sense of humor. We predate cell phones and the internet, at popularized as it is now, social media, all that stuff. So like her sense of humor really works for me. It was hilarious at times. There were times I was reading that and I was laughing out loud. Now there were a few times where I was reading it and I was crying because she really like hit the feels on like the mommy feels. If you're a parent, it's really gonna hit you. So that was great. It comes out in April, like I mentioned, and I do think it is a good one to read. I think if you follow her online, if you've seen any of her content, this one is fantastic. Now, I haven't read her first book, which was just parenting advice. This one is just essays on like her history and her thoughts and her introspections on how she's grown up in her life and that sort of thing. Fantastic. Really, really enjoyed that. And that was it. That was what I read. My husband and I listened to Murderbot. I'm not counting that as read because I have read that that would have been read 4. The audiobook would have been read 4. And honestly, the audiobook's not very good. So I can tell you now, I don't think I recommend the standard audiobook for Murderbot. But he enjoyed it okay. He said he might continue. He's very interested in the show now, so which was kind of what I was aiming for because I do want to watch the show with him. And we also started The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, which is hysterical but will not be for everyone. It is just poop and genital humor all the whole time. We're about 20% of the way through it, and yeah, it's just poop and genitals and gross humor, and it's that's my humor. I am crude. And I am loving it. So we started that. Not done with it yet. I think we're going to listen to it on and off as we play Guild Wars in the evenings after baby girl goes to sleep. That sort of thing. When I got back, I also haven't finished much. I don't think I mentioned, right before we left, I finished If We Cannot Go at the Speed of Light by Kim Chiop. I don't know if I'm saying that last name correctly. It also comes out, I believe, it's either May or April. It's a collection of science fiction short stories, and it is fantastic. I know I've talked about it in another video. I do recommend it. If you like science fiction short stories, look for it next year. It's got a beautiful cover, first off. But I absolutely loved all these short stories. They stuck with me. I finished the book and I wasn't entirely sure what I thought, but then the longer I sat on it, the more they lingered. And I think that's a great sign for the collection because the stories just stuck with me. There was one story about a woman who is becoming a mother, and in this society, consciousness can be stored in this digital cloudscape and you can go and talk to it. Now there's discussions, and it talks about it in the book, whether this consciousness is true consciousness or if this is just an AI replication based on the patternings in the mind when the individual dies. And she goes to talk to her mom, but her mother's consciousness is gone. And then that leads her on a hunt to find out why. And it all kind of leads down to this like heartbreaking conclusion. But something that, again, it's one of those things, if you have a fraught relationship with your mother or you are a mother, you might really feel like it might hit really hard for you, because it did hit really hard for me. And then there were other ones. The old lady, the title story, it's about an old woman stuck on a transit station and the young man trying to get her off of the transit station in space. And like, it was really good. She doesn't want to leave, even though she can, but not in the way she wants. And it was fascinating. I can't really talk much about that one without giving spoilers, but I really enjoyed it, and I do recommend it. So I will most likely be buying my own copy of that one because I would like to have that to revisit. Now, I've read 2 things in the week we have been back, because I have been chipping away at this at night, and I have been working on One Dark Window because I have a live show for that on Saturday at 8 p.m, which I will link to when it's time for that. Keep an eye out. It's on Heather at Hia Booktube's channel. I have read 2 things this week besides those. I've read Dinosaur Sanctuary 7. These are all, as always, by Itaro Kinoshita, and these are fantastic. These in Japanese, this is called Dino-san, and it is about a dinosaur sanctuary. This is a alternate sort of world where at some point in history we figured out how to clone and recreate dinosaurs, and now there are dinosaur zoos or dinosaur sanctuaries, and dino keepers run those. And this is about a kind of failing dinosaur sanctuary in Japan and the zookeepers there, and how they are trying to help the dinos save their zoo, and the general research and stuff that they are doing. And I love this series. It's a 7. I can't spoil it, but if you are reading, you're getting much more about Binky. That is Binky on the back there. He is a young baby dino, and we get more about him and some of the research that one of our zookeepers is helping. Love the series. We'll continue to shout to the rooftops about it and do recommend it. And the last thing that I finished, and I hear a small child outside my door, is Fugitive Telemetry by Martha Wells. This is technically the 6th book in the series. This is the 5th book that I have read because I have skipped the novel, and I really enjoyed it. In this one, we see Murderbot? We see Murderbot in preservation space, and there he's kind of grounded. They've got a home there, and they are working with a lot more humans to solve a mystery. And the humor in this, Murderbot is just unleashed in these. They are snapping back. They are coming up with the witty comebacks to all the humans. At one point, they're helping apprehend someone, and the person goes, "Tell your SecBot to unhand," da 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 da, and Murderbot snaps back at them, and they're like, "Sec units don't talk back." It's very funny. It's very good. The humor just takes a notch up. So I am supposed to be reading the novel. I will probably start that this weekend after the live show, once I finished One Dark Window. It's a reread, so it's very quick. I see a tiny hand. So I will report back on that novel, hopefully next week. Now, as to what I'm currently reading, I'm trying to hurry because 5-year-old is beckoning. I am reading The Green Angel Tower, One Dark Window, which is a reread, and I picked up The Undercutting of Rosie and Adam by Megan Bannon, which is already out. This is an Orbit release from earlier this year. This is the 3rd book in the Undertaking Apart Mercy. That was the first one in that series. Really enjoying it. It's very good. I was not 100% on the first book, but this one I really like. And I think there's one other thing. What was I reading? Hold on. Hi, baby. I'm not done filming just yet, okay?
Yeah, I just wanted to stay down here a little bit.
Okay. Can you turn your phone down a little bit, please? Yeah. She's watching Powerpuff Girls. That's good shit.
Dang it!
That's okay. You can leave the door open. All right, so if you hear Powerpuff Girls, I apologize. But the undercutting of Rosie and Adam. And let's see, hold on. I believe there is one other thing. Oh, that's right. Under the Oak Tree, Volume 2. This is the novel. This is translated. I think this is also translated from Korean. I'm getting a lot of translated books in this year. This is the sequel to the first Under the Oak Tree, which I have said in the past I recommend with some caveats. It's not perfect, but it is worth a read, I think, for like fantasy romance fans, especially if you can tolerate a little bit of a sketchy intro beginning to it. But I am only about 10% of the way through that, so I'm not very far. But that is it. I'm hoping next week I will have a bit more to talk about because I will have finished 2 of the buddy reads I have going on right now, maybe 3. Counting Murderbot, and then I believe the week after next we have another live show for 2 Twisted Crowns. So if you are a fan of the One Dark Window duology, keep an eye out for that. Like I said, I will link the announcement below on Saturday when the live show is starting to go up. That way anybody could follow the link and see it. It's with Heather and Robin. So that is what's going on then. That'll be tomorrow when you guys see this. Wait, what did you read this vacation? What books did we read? Do you remember? Jasper the Rabbit. What was the name of the first one?
Creepy pair of underwear.
Well, that's the second one. What was the one with the carrots?
Creepy carrots.
Yeah, and then there was another one. What's the third one?
Creepy pair of underwear, and then there's creepy crayon.
Yeah, Creepy Crayon. Which one's your favorite?
The troubling tonsils.
We haven't read The Troubling Tonsils.
We need to get it on Amazon.
Yeah, we'll get it, but which one is your favorite that we have?
The creepy pair of underwear and the creepy carrots. Those are my 2 most favorite.
Those are your 2 most favorites?
Yeah, even the troubling tonsils.
We haven't read Troubling Tonsils.
Still telling them.
I know, you just really want to read Troubling Tonsils, huh?
Yeah, to see if it's my favorite.
Okay. To see if it's your favorite. The Unsettling Salad comes out soon too. I think it's the Unsettling Salad that's coming out. One of those 2 is new, and one of them's not out yet. No. Say bye.
I love this video, and please subscribe. And please come back next time. And tomorrow I'm going to my mama and papa's. And
Say bye.
I really don't want to end this video.
Say bye.
Please,
Bye.
please don't